What's up, YouTube fam? It's Dark Angel's Journey, and I'm Shakira. So check it. It's been a bit of a busy week, so I haven't had a chance to make another vid until now. Sadly, I've been up for 2.5 hours on a Saturday morning. It's kind of ridiculous, don't you think? I agree. Yeah, for sure. All right, so um, this is gonna be a backtesting video, but I wanted to also let you guys know I'm currently looking for a risk calculator for crypto, right? Like basically something that before every entry I can go in, like I want to risk like 1% of my entire account each trade, right? So in order to do that, I need to calculate it properly because me just saying I'm going to do 0.01, and it's something that's been nagging at me, you know? It's been nagging at me for a little while because I'm thinking to myself, like, how am I supposed to risk 1% and I have to make my stop loss make sense? You know what I mean? Like I have to, if I set my stop loss to, my swing high or low, depending on what I want to do, and one ATR above that, I need to be able to calculate what that 1% loss is actually supposed to be. And then that needs to feed into what the size of my entry should be, right? So that means that, if I want to do 1% and I'm usually using 25%, then I need to be able to calculate if that 25% of my of my account is actually accurate. And I was like, you know what? I've been doing that wrong. And I think a lot of beginners run into that same issue. So I'm currently on the hunt for a calculator of some kind, and I don't know if you guys have one. If you do, drop it down in the comments. So far, I've only really been able to find like really decent, accurate ones. Like, for example, let me make myself super tiny. Yeah. Anyway, okay. So I've only been able to find myself like I was watching Trade Society's vid, and he was using this position size calculator from babypips.com, and it's great for like Forex, right? They've got, all the pairs. You can like specify your account balance, how much you want to risk, and so on, right? And then, calculate it. So now um what standard lot size you should use and what the minimum lots is, et cetera, right? But I haven't been able to find something really good for crypto. Let's be honest, I've just started looking today, literally in the last like 15 minutes. So feel free to jump in, drop a comment, drop a like. Kitty is trying to get all the attention. And just let me know, like, do you have one? Have you even thought about this? Because these things, I thought risk management, and I'll make myself a little higher, a little bigger just for this second here. I thought risk management was all about just saying, okay, um, set my stop loss here, blah, blah. But then I'm like, it was just bothering me. It's like, it can't be right, because the stop loss can't be at 1% when you're trying to set yourself up for a good trade, right? So, for example, and let me like dip into Ethereum and make myself super tiny again, right? So, for example, right, there's this trade setup that I saw. Um, and I was waiting for price to break out of this little area here, approximately. What am I on? The 1 hour? Sorry about that. So 15 minutes, right? So on the 15 minute, I saw this broadening wedge, right? Broadening wedge, boom, boom. And these are generally bearish, right? Like at least according to the chart patterns that I ascribe to. So while I was looking in here, saw this beautiful um, evening star form, right? Let's get even closer. So I was like, all right, if the next candle after that is a nice strong red candle, I'll make an entry. So I did. What I didn't do is, set my stop loss properly because I was expecting it to come all the way back down here. And let's be honest, it did, right? Because I was looking for 1264. Did we get there? Oh, look at that. Yeah, it pin barred right into it. But at the time, I got spooked and got out like a 1289. So tiny, tiny entries. Like I got the entry at 1293 something like somewhere about here. Anyway, so if I'd set my stop loss all the way up here, which is where I wanted it to stay, right? Then I could have written this out. But think about like what that means for each lot size, right? So percentage wise, it doesn't compute. Like this says 0.99% on this thing. And guys, I'm still working out how to deal with this. Like if I'm setting my account size at $10 and I want to risk 1%, my entries here, there's like certain percentage pips or whatever. If I set this to 1%, is that enough? Right? And then I get a 1 to 2, 3. Is that enough of a calculator? Let me know what you think in the comments. Still need to work through this thing too, this short position, long position stuff, right? Is it doing the calculation for us? And is this something I'm already looking for, right? Hmm. It might be, right? Because 1%, if the account has $10, or it was $10, it's not $10 anymore. So if this is like 9.2, which is what it is right now, and I want a 1% on this, what I'd like for to be able to see is what that 1% actually like pans out to price wise. That's why I want the calculator. Anyway, yeah, let me know what you guys think. All right, so in the meantime, look at that spike up. So if I'd had my stop loss up here, beautiful, drop right down from my original entry, that would have taken 15 hours to play out to fruition. Anyway, all right, cool. So what do we have now? Let's see what's going on with Ethereum. I have not been in here really. We are like seriously sideways. Um, I've drawn this wedge, and let me see, does this fit into any chart patterns? And I really haven't been paying super close attention to these, right? So ones that's going down and coming up at the same time. Oh, that's a contracting. Going down, going up, going down. Still trying to. Was a bearish? Is that okay? That looks more like a. mm, It's not quite right. Something like a bearish pennant or something. But anyway, this could break in any direction. Right now, we've broken out. So if this is gonna play out the way I expect, we broke out twice, retested it, came back down again. Looks like we're coming back for a retest. So potential, it would be this and then continuation down. Now, the thing is that we are in this SR area right here. So, and there is this juicy imbalance down below for it to eat. And lots of, lots of yumminess for it to drop down to if we really want it to. There's also a demand area that I have specced out for future reference for a long position if price tells me what I want it to. But let's dive in. So what do we have, right? So far we've been going sideways, straight up, just sideways. Like the only real play was the first one I talked about here, boom. And then like for your micro scalpers, knock yourselves out. There was a break area. We're in this SR area, supply area. So you could have like popped in here, I think. Let's look at that area when it popped. Big indication that there's weakness here. And then once you saw like a green candle, something like that, some bullishness, kind of wait for it to break up, retrace back down and continue back up. I find that working with the continuation is like your best bet, right? So retrace back up and then look, something like that. Or, I mean, honestly, if you were looking at it some other way, let's see, like for example, what do we have? do we have, say if we were to draw our fib to the bottom of this thing here. I don't think I drew that right anyway. Hold on. Wrong direction. Always working on that. Try to use the bodies of this thing to the top of this one right here. So if we're working through the fib, we're looking for a rise, a drop, retrace past the 0.5. It didn't happen here, but it happened here. And then once it pulled back, no, you could have entered here and then did a quick scalp to here from there. But no, I wouldn't have felt like that was a good thing. Maybe if you got an entry from here and then rode it back up with your stop loss, if you'd seen this, entered here just for funsies, just below that, and then you wanted to ride it back up to the last place that price stopped, which was up here, right? Then you could have done that, and that would have been a 1 to 382. And like a full 1%, if this is to be believed, would be about there approximately. And you definitely would have given it room to breathe. So that would have been a 1 to 2. Okay, maybe I'm getting a little better with this thing, who knows? But anyway, it's sideways, it's chaotic, anything can happen. I don't know that I like that. I like the initial move, and then maybe I, leave it alone until something juicy happens. So we'll see. And what's Bitcoin doing? Okay. Wow. Put this on the 1 hour. And let's take a look. Similar scenario. They're kind of trading in lockstep, and I think I will adjust this guy since we have so many additional touches up top. Let's do this. Okay, and we busted through and technically had about, 1, 2, 3. Excuse me. And we could consider this a flat bottom, but maybe I'll readjust to something like this. I don't know. Let's see. That. Let's take that out. Okay. And you could have been like, I'm going to draw this trend line, and then once it breaks out, take like a short from there. Let me draw this over. But once you're in like this type of wedge, similar scenario, the move for Bitcoin though, like it consolidated a bit, came up here, consolidated some more, and big green candles, then we started to get smaller, we started wicking smaller candles, and the red candle started introducing itself. Now, just out of curiosity, we came here, we saw this nice juicy red candle right here, and we said we want to enter here. And I wanted my take profit to be down, like, let's say right here. We already see what happens, so that's a 1 to 2, 2. And I wanted my 1%. Or, I'm just curious to see if that would have done anything for us. Well, we would have been stopped out if we did that. If we took this with the ATR, let's add that in really quickly. So the ATR for my entry candle, let's do the replay button and grab this right here. And maybe we'll get, this ATR tool is really very finicky. So let's see, that was 102.4. So if I said I wanted to put my stop loss right above there, and okay, so let's say I was being super conservative, 17,253 plus 102.4. So then my stop loss should be up at 17,355. So about here. Okay. And then if we look at where price stopped last time, That'd be a 1 to 3.8. Now, if I'm being super honest, I like a 1 to 2, and I want it to drop into the if we're going down, we're gonna eat most, if not all of this. And then the next area where price stopped off at, let me put that down, was right around here, right? That's the last place stop chilled. So I would have been like price stops, so I would have been like right to there, you know? And then that would have been my entry. And then right now we would still, whoa, look at that. Look at that. Let me take this, just delete that. Oh my goodness. If we'd done a 1 ATR, we would have kept in here. Just barely. And then, price is making lower highs, and we're coming up to where price is right now. So, still would be in. To this point, with all this sideways grossness, we would be in profit to the extent of, if we're exactly where we are with price right now, what is that? 0.75. I mean, and you can't even move your stop loss at this point. Or maybe you could. You could adjust to this guy, adjust your ATR, adjust the stop loss accordingly. Since this guy is done, it's eaten all of this. Yeah, so what would that look like? Let's add ATR back in again. And let's move this back to this candle so we can see what the ATR, actually, sorry, move to, yeah. The ATR for this candle is, looks like it's 73.5. So then 73.5 plus the top of this thing, if we're being conservative here, 17,152.5. So then you could adjust your stop loss to 17,226 because we're still in it. This move's already happened, and we would be to reduce our loss here, 226 there. And of course, we see how price is doing its thing. Honestly, with all this sideways action, I probably, would exit with my 1 to whatever and go on about my business because and then wait for this to actually break out and do something useful. Because I mean, right now it's not doing anything juicy. And my original, if it breaks downwards, is to this area anyway. Oh, look how spot on that is. Ha! So, from my perspective, let's pull that out. So from my perspective, either way, if there's a breakout of this thing, we're in the space. I'm looking for some sort of retest and then a continuation down. Oops. Something like that. And then if it goes in the opposite direction, because, price can do whatever the heck it wants, right? A breakout, a retrace back into this area to retest it, and then so on. So for these areas where price likes to stop, and actually let me redraw this one properly, right? Because we do have this demand area and this SR area right here for this breakout. So if it wants to hold, then it could come here, tap it, and bust back up. That's a potential. But if it busts below that, breakout, retest, continuation down, right? And then of course we have other areas down here to focus on where price last stopped at. So this is another nice area where, if this continues on down, let's say it breaks past this, retests it, and then drops to that. So that would be, one potential. And then we have this big imbalance up here for them to tap. Question is, do they tap it, drop down, retest? So as usual, they tap it, drop back down to the area they last stopped, bust through, come back down, and so on. Market structure is so fascinating. But sideways like this, man, I ain't got nothing to do with this right now. I mean, of course, let's go to the 1 minute just for funsies, right? Oops. Sorry, that's the 1 month. So if we go into 1 minute, you can find these structures. Like you could be trading those structures because guess what? You're trading um these microstructures, Oh, look, price stopped here. We've stopped here. We've come back up. Price stopped here. We're hanging out. But as beginner traders, I'm going to be honest, right? Trading the 1 minute for me is a bit intimidating, you know, because, like the 3 minute makes a lot more sense to me, or the 5 minute, or 15, that type of thing. So, but could we have done it? Of course. Abso-freaking-lutely. I mean, look at this. Obvious area where price has stopped on the 3 minutes. Look to the left, because this is historical data will tell you the next place is going to stop at. So another place price has hung out at, right? Boom, beautiful. And look at it. Came back down, touched it, went away. Look at it. Came back up, touched it, went away. Look it up. Came up, consolidated around it, dropped again. So, it's all about what you want to do as a trader. Like me, I'm trying to understand this stuff. Trade it higher up, get my trends from the higher time frames, which means that when Bitcoin is like moving super slow like this, that, for me, I don't have a lot to do. Once I catch the initial move, and I think Ethereum for me trades better, at least because Bitcoin, what you want it to move is like $1,000, right? Right now these moves are like hundreds, you know? That doesn't mean you can't like go ham and have a good time with it. You absolutely can. But, you know, oh, it's far easier for me to get a better view of what's happening just like from the higher time frames than, looking at the lower time frames because it's just so much noise. Because look at the 1 hour, right? Let me take that out. We're obviously just trading sideways, right? Until we break out of this thing. If we go to the 4 hour, even more obvious. Just trading sideways. So obvious. So obvious. Break. Come back into it. So I am going to wait for proper setups. And while I'm waiting for that, I will go ahead and just practice. And I'm going to continue my search for a proper risk management, um, calculator for crypto because, yo, if I want to keep to that 1%, then I need to be able to make sure that the size of each entry, based off of where my stop loss is correct. And I think that's something that I haven't been doing. So as soon as I figure that out, guys, I will do a video on that and I'll show you what I found. And, hopefully that will help you too. All right. Make sure that you don't go too crazy and lose because you've managed to, your risk management and the calculations around that are wrong. All right. 24 minutes of just talking through what I'm thinking, what I'm doing. I guess it's sort of an analysis, but it's more of a I don't like what I'm seeing and just kind of like looking through what we could have done, in the past. I'm gonna do another video back testing, of course, because I wanna focus more on continuing to strengthen my strategy, right? Continue to make sure that I'm consistently entering and I'm not being too scared about the trade. And I think finding that risk management calculator is going to help me with that because I got out of that really juicy, beautiful ETH trade because I was scared because I didn't want to lose as much as I saw when I calculated it in Big. Anyway, let me know if this is helpful. Like this is a light bulb. Like boom, what? Heck yeah, of course. Managing the risk appropriately based off of stop loss is so important, and I've been doing it wrong. So for all you folks out here that are also doing the same thing, man, go on that journey, man. Figure it out. Watch some vids about it. I'm gonna post a link um at the end. I guess I don't know where it's gonna show up because I don't have any super sophisticated stuff any yet. But I'll actually drop a link down in the description to the video that I was watching about the 7 tips. Um, Hold on a second. I'm looking at the wrong thing. It's like a seven tips to, better risk management, right, for traders. So there's this vid by Trade Society. I really like this guy. His stuff is really good. He's got a lot of like um content from a price action perspective, risk management, trade entries, all of that stuff. And I'm trying to consume different traders and get my thoughts from them and see what's going on. But as with everything, like take all of this and this is something that I've been doing my entire life, right? When people tell you something, it's information, right? It's not go do this, or at least it shouldn't be, right? Because you guys, all of us, right? We're individuals. No one can, when I pinch myself, only I can feel that. When I stub my toe, only I can feel that. When I lose money, it's all my fault. You know what I'm saying? So whenever I consume stuff from the traders that I really enjoy, learning from, it's information. And how I choose to incorporate that information is my choice, right? And it's my problem. So or it's my success, right? So do your own research, right? Whenever someone tells you something, test it. Test it again. Test it again. Keep testing it, right? But don't flip flop, while you're still learning. As beginners, like if you've got a strategy, work with it, hone it, continue. But that risk management piece, man, it is so important. And I really missed the mark on the calculation piece. And I'm still, as you can tell, I'm still harping on that because it's still bothering me. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. Remember, no matter what anybody else outside of your personal space tells you, it's just information. You decide whether or not you want to incorporate that information wholesale, make adjustments, modifications, or just reject it outright. The one thing I know for a fact, though, for me, is that I don't know everything. And that's why I'm trying to consume information from other folks who are better and they know more, they've been doing this longer. And then, take that information and test it. What's the harm, right? Test it. Does it work? Does it work for you? And remember, like 1 or 2 tests is not going to be enough. You need hundreds, thousands of tests for a strategy to be properly vetted as, working whatever much percentage of times versus losing, but that's why it's a journey, right? That's why we're not like at the end of this thing, at the beginning of this thing thinking, yeah, I'm gonna be like the best right out the gate. Yeah. Now, let's be honest, I'm sure there's folks out here who are like certifiable geniuses and good and beautiful for you. I am not. So therefore I have to come in here, I have to learn, I have to make my notes, I have to grow. And guys, let me show you, like, the stupid shit, excuse me, the stupid stuff that I did the other day that lost me a little bit of money. And look at my journal. Can I zoom in on this thing? Okay, let me see. Try to zoom in. All right. So look at this is my $10 USDT. I don't know if I'm zoomed in too far, but you guys can see that. Anyway, This is my $10 USDC. And look at the news play. Now, I did something that I said I wasn't going to do. I went ahead and just started plopping in. Look how many of these ridiculous trades I took, right? Ridiculous shorts. And I'm like, look at me, just yelling at myself, don't do this again. Like, why did you do that? Like, of all of these news plays, like a tiny nothing, anything, 0.1, 0.1, 0.5, 0.6. I mean, they're all tiny losses, but they're still losses. Okay? And this is the kind of behavior that can get you completely messed up. So, but keeping a trading journal is also super important. So like, make a note like these news plays, I should have waited, like I said in my analysis video, and I waited for the perfect setup, which came. But guess what time it came? It came at like 7:15 at night. Beautiful. SR error, there's a bearish expanding calendar, the big ring candle showing me the momentum has switched over. But what did I do? I exited out of fear with like a 1.67% profit because look at me forgetting that market structure, right? Nothing goes up or down in a straight line. It went down, it retraced a little bit, it went down. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so I also wanted to kind of share that with you guys. And if we scroll to the right, like, I think these calculations need some help. This says I have 940. I think the fees are killing me because on BitGet, pretty sure I still have, let's scroll over. Yeah, 9.2266 is what's in there. Because I was doing pretty well to get back up before my my silliness on the 30th. Look at that. Look at that. That's crazy. Why did I do that? But that's also another beginner moment right there, guys. So, full transparency. But guess what? I haven't blown my account. Okay? Risk management is key. Straight up. Risk management is key. All right. I think this is long enough, 30 minutes. I'm going to do a back testing because I haven't done one. I haven't had a chance to get my practice on, understand my levels, all that stuff. So let's jump into something like that after this. So those I think will end up being a lot longer. But whenever I want to show you specific trade setups, I'll try and keep it to like 30 minutes or less. All right, guys. It's Saturday. I hope you guys slept in longer than I did because I woke up way too early and now I want a caramel frap. I want a frap so bad. All right, guys. Happy Saturday. Enjoy yourselves. It's the weekend. Trade safely. Okay. But all we have are crypto folks out here doing whatever they're doing. And no institutions, no sessions, just pure crypto. So be careful. Trade safely. Like and subscribe if you feel like it. Drop a comment. I love to see those and I love to respond to you guys. And with that, Shakira out.